Man, can you guys come on so everybody can see you guys up here? Good morning, friends, neighbors, and Democrats. How's everybody doing this glorious morning? Thank you all for being here, for being engaged with what happens on your block, in your neighborhood, and in your city. I want to say thank you to the Ward 8 convention team that put this all together, that have given up. Yeah, please give them a big round of applause. I want to say thank you to my amazing campaign team. Please give them a big round of applause. My campaign manager, Moira Myrick, who is a student at Hamlin University and has been doing an amazing job at running this campaign. Also to Senator Scott Dibble, to former City Council member Robert Lilligren, to Ann Vitale, Roxanne Anderson, yes, Beth Bright, Sarah Lopez, Deba Sadar, Ashley Myers, Gloria Freeman, Kelly O'Brien, Katie Hatt, and Michelle Demios. And of course, I would not be here without the mentorship and guidance of our current City Council Vice President, Elizabeth Glidden. I want to thank my family. My daughter and my granddaughters are here. Right here. Love you guys so much. And most importantly, I want to thank my partner, Murray Regulus and Darius Regulus. Where are you guys? There you are. I stand before you today as an unapologetic Black transgender woman. Yeah! Who is a parent, a grandparent, a daughter, a sister, an aunt, and a friend to so many of you. It is my deepest honor to stand before you today to seek your support to represent the 8th Ward on the Minneapolis City Council. I never dreamed of this moment growing up in a working class family on the west side of Chicago with essentially a single mother. And I just want to take a moment to shout out my mother. Mom, can you please? She lives here in the Bryant neighborhood, so she will be able to vote for me. Yeah. But I just want to shout her out for her strength and commitment to providing me and my siblings with the best opportunities she could. Whenever our neighborhood became too bad, she would always move us to someplace better. And we all know the gaps in home ownership between blacks and whites, but my mother has owned 5 homes and has never, ever been foreclosed on. And she even created the scenario to help myself and my sister become homeowners. I love you so much, Mom, and I'm so, so deeply proud of you. So I came to the University of Minnesota in 1979. And I had 3 solid years as a student there. I was engaged in a Greek letter organization and eventually became the president. But there were internal struggles that I was dealing with around my gender identity. And those issues led to me being discovered and outed by one of my fraternity brothers, forcing me to leave school. And so for the next 10 years, I tried to hide from myself. I thought maybe I'm gay. Nope, that wasn't it. I got married, but that wasn't the answer either. It's a funny thing. You cannot run from yourself no matter how hard you try. You are always there. And so at age 30, I came to terms with my identity that I knew existed since I was 4 years old, that I was a woman. And I began going to therapy at the PHS program at the University of Minnesota, and I finally came out to myself, to my family, and my friends. And I was sure that they would abandon me, that I would lose my job as a vocational counselor at Hennepin County. But I didn't lose my job, because in 1993, the state of Minnesota passed a human rights bill that protects transgender identified people. It makes it illegal to fire someone or deny them housing or services in public spaces. But not only that, I believe that when I became more authentic with myself and others, people respected that. And it freed me up in a way. And after 20 years, I finally finished my bachelor's degree in human services and interpersonal communications at Metropolitan State University. And while I was working with moms and families, with my friend and dear brother, Senator Jeff Hayden, we were part of the founding group that started Hennepin Powderhorn Partners, located at 12th and Lake Street, an integrated service delivery based program in the community where people live. And I'm proud to say that this has now become the model for how the entire county delivers their social services to people all throughout the county. In fact, Century Plaza will be closing on May 12th, and people will no longer have to come downtown. They can go to service delivery centers right in their communities. Yes. But after 10 years of doing that work, I came to the conclusion that I could no longer be a witness to the same women entering my office with the same issues, the same oppressions, which were various combinations of poor education, poverty, patriarchy, and racism. I had to get to a level where I could impact policy to try and change these dynamics that were and are still deleteriously affecting our communities today. So I went to graduate school at Southern New Hampshire University and got a master's degree in community economic development. It's the study of social movements for the sake of creating livable, thriving communities where everybody benefits. And I call that equitable development. And then I met Robert Williger at the University of St. Thomas. We were in a neighborhood leadership development course that included Senator Jeff Hayden, the Assistant City Coordinator David Rubador, former City Council member Natalie Johnson Lee. This was a powerhouse group. And Robert was eventually elected the City Council member for this 8th Ward. And he invited me to join him as his policy aide. And during that time with Robert, I learned one of the best lessons of my life. It's all about relationships. Building consensus around issues and policies that improve people's lives. I left the council member office after 3 years and became the director of development for the Northside Redevelopment Council, helping to build an entire new neighborhood in North Minneapolis that is now called Heritage Park. And after a while, still wanting to create more policy change to improve our communities, myself, Senator Hayden, and several others created an organization we called the Minnesota Renaissance Initiative. Our goal was to create economic development opportunities in low-income communities of color and our first project area was 38th and Chicago. We worked with a planning consultant, Antonio Rosell, to create a community small area plan. Because it's one thing to want change in your community, it's quite another thing to work with the community and determine what it is that people want and to put those ideas on paper. And part of that strategy became to have a voice in the city council, because we understood that we had to have the city involved to make the plan a reality. So we ran a political campaign to get Jeff Hayden elected to the 8th Ward City Council office. And we did quite well for a while. And then along came a whip-smart young attorney named Elizabeth Glidden. And you guys know the outcome of that story. But here's where the lesson that Robert taught me about relationships come in. When Elizabeth won the DFL endorsement on a day much like today, I went and congratulated her. And I relayed the information about the work that we had been doing to improve 38th and Chicago, and offered to assist her, as a resident, mind you, with anything she needed to make that happen. Well, lo and behold, Elizabeth offered me an opportunity to join her team. And because I had a deep commitment to community and to the project that we had been working on for years, I said yes. I think it surprised some people, maybe even angered a few people, but I can work with anybody who is trying to improve our community as long as they are coming from a place of authenticity and heart. And so that working relationship lasted for 10 years. And during that time, Elizabeth and I not only were colleagues, but lifelong friends. We worked together when the I-35W bridge collapsed, when the tornado came through South Minneapolis and took out many trees and damaged folks' homes. We were able to adopt the small area plan at the city of Minneapolis, which in and of itself is an accomplishment, but even more importantly, we implemented that plan. And if you go over to 38th and Chicago now, you will see small businesses where empty buildings used to be. Businesses like Smoke in the City, the Third Place Gallery, run by world famous photographer Wing Young Huey. You will see the Covenant, which is a consignment store that has expanded and now sells brand new furniture. There's a coffee shop, a food incubator, and the Chicago Avenue Fire Arts Center. That is a one-of-a-kind art center that provides space for artists to create art from sparks, heat, and flames. And speaking of artists, yes, speaking of artists, I am a poet, a performance artist, and a visual artist myself. And during that time, working with Councilmember Glidden, I pursued and obtained a Master's of Fine Arts and Creative Writing at Hamline University. I understand how the arts and community intersect, and I think we need more artists involved in our policy-making process. We need creative minds to solve some of the issues that we face today, like homelessness and affordable housing, wage reform, and sensible transportation options. We also worked on major policy issues as well, like the development of the Climate Action Plan, which moves Minneapolis into the leadership as cities try to address the real issues of climate change. We worked on the I-35W transit project and bus rapid transit that will result in one of the largest overhauls of 35W since it was built right through the middle of our ward, displacing many Black residents and dividing our communities in ways that we are still trying to overcome. And this summer, folks, that construction begins. And I talked about this a little bit earlier, but it's going to last for 4 construction seasons. And at the end, there will be a northbound exit at 28th Street, a southbound exit at Lake Street, creating access for small businesses along Lake Street and beyond. And the new transit station in the middle of the freeway, similar to the one at 46th Street, will be connected to the Greenway and so that there will be access for people on bikes and pedestrians to access that freeway, which replaces the little side ramp that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life on 35W. And there's so many women and children who use those bus stops to get to those jobs, to get to their doctor's appointments, to get all throughout the city. And it's a shame that it exists the way it does, but we're going to change that. But these, and there'll also be improvements at the 40th Street walking bridge. That will be replaced. The bridges on 38 and 36, which are now have one street light on them and very, very narrow sidewalks, will be redecked, improved, and lighting, access for pedestrians, safe access for pedestrians will be there. And I know Senator Hayden is going to help us make sure that that project is done right, because it's right here in his community. Because of my experience of working on large projects like the Lake Street and Nicollet Avenue reconstructions, I believe that I am the council member that can help to bring some sanity to this project as it moves forward. So last night, I went to a fundraiser at the University of Minnesota to fund a new center focusing on gender diversity. And as some of you may know, that I am currently the oral historian at the University of Minnesota. And I have interviewed 160 transgender and gender nonconforming people throughout the upper Midwest and the entire country for that matter. And I can tell you that undoubtedly our societal notions about gender are changing. 20 years from now, there will be a broad recognition that gender is fluid, and transgender and gender nonconforming folks are a part of the human family. But at this fundraiser, the keynote speaker was Dr. Jocelyn Elders, who served briefly during the Clinton administration as the Surgeon General, before she was thrown under the bus for promoting education to children that masturbation is a normal and in fact important part of life. But she talked about the 5 C's of leadership. She named them as clarity, competence, consistency, compassion, and courage. She said you need a clear vision to know where you're going. And you must be competent to carry that vision out. You must be consistent, stating that whenever there is a new president or a dean or a council member for that matter, we have to start all over from scratch. If I am elected to the city council, we will not have to start all over from scratch. We will carry on the great work that Councilmember Elizabeth Glidden has been doing for the past 12 years, and I'm deeply proud of that. She offered that when we start over, that limits progress, and we need to keep moving. She also said that you must have compassion for people and the courage to do the right thing. I offer that to you today. I will carry my experience with me as I go to City Hall. I will listen to and work with you to get things accomplished. And we must all exhibit those 5 C's if we want to resist the challenges to our democracy in our state and more broadly in our city. Clarity, competence, consistency, compassion, and courage. I'm proud to stand here today and accept your nomination for the DFL endorsement.